Hello there, Suetonia here for eveiseasy. CCP recently gave out 20 days free multiple character training as part of the Christmas 2014 gift. I'd like to show you a PvP character that I made with the 20 days training time. A quick reminder, if you haven't redeemed your 20 days free training time, you still can. You've got until the 11th of January 2015 to redeem that. If you're interested in trying out some PvP on a character with that free character, you can copy my character if you'd like. You can also make an Explorer character. If you use an Aerator, you can actually get a decent Explorer out of that. And a few other cool characters you can make. I'd also like to show you this video so I can prove to you that you can PvP in nullsec even with a character that has 20 days training time. Now, I did use a set of +3s to get the skills on here, without the charisma implant, of course. And I did use my initial remap to go full perception, but I didn't use any of my bonus remaps. I still have both of those yet. I'm kind of planning on training this character for, about an extra 20 days. So that's why I haven't used them yet. But you can, if you don't want to buy +3 implants to get to the point that I am at, you can just use the bonus remaps, and you'll definitely get the SP that I have. If you just min-max, use Evemon or some other planner, and you can definitely get it without paying for the +3 implants if you don't want to. Proof that it's 20 days. Here we are, Christina X Christina 1997X. She was born on the 18th of December at 1521. She's a bit older than 20 days now, but you can see the last skill I trained was on the 7th of January at 11:08. Since she was born on 20+3, that was 4 days before her 20th birthday. So she still has 20 days worth of skills, and she's training a big skill now, Amarr Frigate 5. So she'll still have 20 days of skill for the next week or so. So important skills that I think are really important for this character, which is an Executioner character. I'm flying the Executioner. I'll go into a bit more detail in a second. But the skills that I've got, I got Mechanics level 3. Reason for Mechanics level 3, it gives you structure hit points, but also it unlocks Jewelry Rigging, which I needed to fit my ship. I needed to get the Energy Weapon Rigging skill for my ship to fit. Hull upgrades level 2. Armors, we're using an armor tank ship, but I already got it to level 2. Definitely, I have it planned to level 4, as you can see, so I can get a Tech 2 damage control eventually. But level 2 is fine initially. I also have repair systems level 2. This skill does actually add quite a lot to your tank, but I've only got it level 2 right now, and also because I have lower capacitor skills right now, keeping it at level 2 is kind of okay for me. Electronic systems, we're just going to grab 1 point in propulsion jamming. We don't need it any higher than that. I've got it planned to level 2 just because, it's a quick upgrade later on. But we are flying an Executioner, which has the roll bonus of 80% reduction in cap for propulsion jamming modules. So this isn't really a high priority for us. Engineering is where we spent most of our skill points, and that's mostly on power grid management level 5. We've also got weapon upgrades level 4 to unlock the Tech 2 heatsink. We've got 3 ranks. We've got 3 ranks into thermodynamics, which is the most important PvP skill in the game. Just because it just does so much. You definitely need this. CPU management, I got to level 4. We don't need to get it higher than that. Weapon upgrades 4 and CPU management 4 is enough to fit our ship. We still have quite a bit of CPU to spare, and on my fit, you could get some more CPU by using some meta modules that I'm not using right now. And then we've got capacitor management level 3 and capacitor systems operation level 3. This is just to give us decent cap skills. We are flying Amarr after all. And getting them both to level 3 is not that hard. And we also need capacitor management level 3 anyway as a prerequisite for thermodynamics. Capacitor emission systems, we just want this level 1 so we can fit a NOS. This skill doesn't actually give any benefit at all if you're using Nosferatu modules, because it reduces the cap cost. But since NOS doesn't have any cap cost, level 1 is fine. You only need level 1 to fit the small Nosferatu, so just get it to level 1, that's it. Boom, done. Gunnery is the second place where we're spending our points. Big one here, small energy turret 5. just because Scorch is so important for lasers, and it's 5% damage per level. It's the most efficient damage upgrade we can get, and getting Tech 2 crystals is very important. I've then put just a few ranks into the support skill. So I've got motion prediction level 3. You need that for Tech 2 pulse, and also because lasers rely on optimal range, it's the primary skill we're going to be getting. Oh, sorry, sharpshooter is the optimal range skill, my bad. Rapid firing, this gives 4% rate of fire per level. That's also another huge DPS upgrade. It's only rank 2. So I've got it to 3. I'm planning it to level 4. It's definitely a solid skill. Gunnery, it only gives 2% rate of fire per level, but we need it to get it to level 4 to unlock the trajectory analysis and surgical strike skills. We have got 2 ranks into small pulse laser specialization. It only gives us 2% damage, so level 2 is fine. Got it planned a bit later on to get some more damage out of that. Control burst level 3 is fine. Just want it to level 3 to help our cap. And trajectory analysis, we don't really need fall off that much on lasers. I got it to level 1 just because training it to level 1 is, it's half an hour. Might as well get 5% fall off for, really quick training time onto the character. So moving on to probably the third most important part is the navigation skills. I've got navigation level 3, evasive maneuvering level 3, and acceleration control level 3. And I also had to train afterburner level 3 to train high-speed maneuvering for Microwarpdrive. I'm definitely going to plan these to get navigation level 4 next, and then evasive maneuvering and acceleration control level 4, if I decide to continue this character a bit longer. Neuro enhancement, just train cybernetics level 1 right off the bat. Cybernetics just gives you the option to use +3s, or if you don't want to use as much this, you can roll +2s or +1s, which are very cost efficient. Anyway, in the rigging skills, we have energy rigging level 3. This is important to fit the ship. Reduces the power grid penalty on energy weaponry, energy weapons, which is our lasers. Just need to get it to level 3 for the ship to fit. It's more efficient to train energy weapon rigging level 3 as opposed to training weapon upgrades 5 and then training advanced weapon upgrades level 4 or something. That's cheap. Didn't invest anything in scanning. Science, need to train that to level 4 just to get the thermodynamic skill. I really wish TCP would change this, because 5% bonus to blueprint copying speed per level it has nothing to do with in space and heat. I really wish they would change it to energy operation 4 or something instead. Shields aren't really that important on our ship. We have very low shields, especially on a Amarr ship. And the shield management skill is quite expensive as well, because it's a rank 3 skill. It takes 3 times as long to train as the structure skill, for example. So, got it to rank 1 just because it was cheap. 25-minute train or whatever for extra 5% shield. Sure, let's get it. Shield operation is kind of the same thing. Let's just get it to level 1 just because it's a cheap, quick upgrade. But other than that, I'm going to be leveling these up. I'm going to get them to 3 each, but they're going to be sort of the last things that I do. And right now we got Amarr frigate level 4. You definitely want to get Amarr frigate level 4 because the frigate skill gives you a lot of options. It gives you 40% reduced cap cost on the turrets, and it also gives you an extra 20% damage, and that's for rank 2, which is really good. As comparison, the control burst skill alone is rank 2, and that's only a 5% reduction. And then you're also getting like a free 5% damage on top of that. It's a very efficient skill. And Amarr frigate is also a very useful skill regardless of what you're doing. If you want to be an explorer, it gets you a better magnate. So that's my skills. Very easy to get this within 20 days. Like I said, I didn't use my bonus remaps at all. Did use +3s. But you can probably get here with +2s because, as you can see, I had 4 hours spare. And if you use the bonus remaps that come free with your character, then you definitely can get here within 20 days on a smaller budget. Even though set of +3s is about around 35 million ISK, so it's not that bad. And when I initially remapped, I just remapped straight to perception and then put all the dump points into intelligence. So it's mostly just training Perception skills. I didn't check to see if this would be the most efficient build or not. I just think it is kind of it's just a build that I like to go with on new frigate pilots, because you tend to be training a lot of perception skills, and also it gives you very good training on the navigation skills as well. But I'm not sure if it's 100% efficient, but I'm not trying to min-max this character at all. I just wanted to get a decent character within 20 days. So if we just go on to the combat log quickly before I go on to the next section, you can see I've killed last night while the character was 20 days old. I killed 12 people. 9 of those ships are Tech 2 ships, and yeah, so you can definitely do it with a 20-day character. I'm just going to go over to a section more about the Executioner in detail, and then we can look at some PvP footage. So I chose the Executioner on this character, mostly because it's actually my favourite ship in the game. It's a really solid ship. But more importantly, the Executioner is much more friendly for a lower skill pilot, and I'll explain why. The biggest weakness we face as a young Amarr pilot is probably managing our capacitor. Energy weapons like the pulse lasers that we're going to be using is taking up a lot of our capacitor. We also need cap to run our tank, of course, as well as our propulsion and tackle models. And if we can't shoot, then we're going to be running into a lot of issues. The Executioner has a utility high, which the Tormentor doesn't, which allows us to have a small Nosferatu in the high slot, which makes us much less vulnerable to energy warfare. Also, because the Executioner is in the attack frigate line, it gets a roll bonus, which is 80% reduction in propulsion jamming systems activation cost, which reduces the capacitor cost of our web and our scram by a significant amount. And if we take a look at here, we can see that the activation cost on the web is only 0.76, activation on the scram is 0.95, and if we take a look at the activation on our guns, it's 1.3. That's obviously times by 3, but if we shove multi-frequency in there quickly, which is what we'd be using if we were in null range. Take a look at this. So we'll be using 4 capacitors a second every 1.79 seconds, and then from the extra 2 cap or so from here, check this. This is giving us 9 capacitor every 2.5 seconds. So the reality is we can actually run our guns and the scram and web and the damage control just on the Nosferatu alone, and that's what makes the Executioner really good. And that's why I like it over the Tormentor in this case. The attack frigate line all have significant capacitor regeneration as well. Their base capacitor regeneration is actually 5 cap per second. That's before skills, and that's actually the highest on any frigate in the game. So that's another reason why the Executioner is good. It's just got very good capacitor regeneration on top of this Nosferatu. This Nosferatu is actually not taking into account down here. That's also running our MWD. Turn that off, we can see we can actually run for quite a significant amount of time when we're not running the MWD. Obviously that's taken off the cap penalty as well. But yeah, another thing that we like the Execution of the Tormentor is that a lot of the strength for the Tormentor is the fact that it has 2 light drones. It has 10 meters cubed bandwidth. Since we're a low SP character, we're not going to get a lot out of drones without spending more skill points into the drone line, and we don't want to do that. We want to focus our skill points into doing damage with our lasers instead of training drones. And the higher base speed on the Executioner is also very useful. Tormentor is quite a lot slower than the Executioner is, and what this means is the Tormentor is typically going to be running its MWD for longer, which is going to hurt its cap even more. It's also slower. It's more likely to die in a gate camp because we have poorer navigation skills, and it's also going to have a harder time catching ships like crows and interceptors, which are going to be what we're going to be killing mostly. And another thing is our lower tracking skills can also be offset a bit more by our higher base speed, because when we're moving away from a target, their traversal is lower. If we're faster, it's going to be able to bring faster ships' traversal lower. So therefore, having higher base speed also gives us better tracking, kind of. So I didn't pick the Punisher because it's a bad ship. I'm not going to talk about that too much here. So yeah. So let's just talk about pulse lasers quickly. Pulse lasers are the weapon system we're going to be using on the Executioner. Pulse lasers have very good damage application at range because we get Scorch, and this is why getting Tech 2 lasers is high priority. Scorch is bread and butter to our engagement. Just fit some Scorch here. As you can see, even with my trash kills, 9 kilometer optimal. My scram is 8.6 optimal. That means I can shoot all the way into my scram range, and you know, with a extra point into a sharpshooter or two, you know, I'll be able to hit into my overloaded scram range, which is very good. So pulse lasers, since we can also lasers can swap ammo instantly, what that means is we don't lose as much DPS. So let's say we're shooting some guy, he's coming in at us, we're shooting him with Scorch, and by the time he gets into Multifrequency range or Conflag range, instantly we're going to swap, and we're going to keep doing our full damage. We're always going to be applying damage, and that's what lasers are about mostly, is high damage application. Also, it works the opposite way around. Obviously, if we're shooting some guy with Multifrequency or Conflagration, then he's like slowly crawling out of our range. We then can just instantly switch to Scorch, and we don't lose any DPS, which blasters and autocannons would, and they would potentially then have to switch ammo, which would be a 5-second reload on blaster ships to null, or a 10-second reload on autocannons to barrage, which would be, you know, a significant DPS loss. The weakness of pulse lasers is that they have the worst tracking of the close range weapon systems. Both blasters and autocannons out-track lasers by quite a decent margin, and also the energy cost. So, and the ship that we're using here is, like I said, the Executioner is very good because it has a lot of advantages that really help out its base cap and a character with lower capacitor skills. So that's one weakness taken care of, and the other weakness of tracking, you know, we've got a web, we've got high base speed, so pretty much sorted. So bread and butter of pulse lasers mostly is we're gonna against hybrids and autocannons, we're gonna kite them and stay in Scorch range, and by doing that, they're gonna have to use their lower damaged long range Tech 2 ammo. If they don't switch to that, then we're gonna be doing significantly more damage to them. And we just want to exploit our Scorch DPS as much as possible. For missiles, it's kind of the opposite. We just want to get in there. We want to get our Nosferatu running on them so we can get more caps, so we can get some more ancillary charges off. And we want to switch to Conflagration or Imperial Navy Multifrequency to get as much DPS on them as possible. Rockets and light missiles are going to hit us wherever we are in scram range, so we might as well be on top of them and doing our max DPS. So let's just look at our Executioner fit quickly. We have 3 dual light pulse in the highs. This is the tier 2 lasers, or the middle tier. The tier above is focused small pulse, but we're not going to be using them because we're already maxed out on CPU and grid anyway. And also dual light pulse are a lot more friendly for a new character because they use less capacitor to fire, and they also have better tracking. And dual light pulse are fine. With dual light pulse we do have 9 kilometer optimal, which is fine for shooting in our scram range, so we don't need the focus small pulse. We have a small Knave energy drain. It's very important that you get the Knave and not the best named or the Tech 2. The reason for this is that small Knave only uses 8 power grids. You can also get the Meta 1 version, which is the small goal, but this is super cheap. It's 2000 ISK or something. It's ridiculous. It's almost free. And the E5 and the small diminishing, they actually use 9 power grid, even though they're slightly better, and the extra range that you get from the higher meta modules is not really that useful to us. 6 kilometers is fine. And Tech 2, of course, uses 10 power grid. And it also requires higher skills as well, which we don't have, and we don't want to train this skill. So small Knave energy drain, small goal is fine too. Limited Microwarpdrive. You do actually have enough CPU if you want to go for the plain Tech 1 one. This is just a very efficient Microwarpdrive because it's the most efficient on capacitor. If you want to save this though, Tech 1 Microwarpdrive is perfectly fine. J5B, we don't want to spend 2 million ISK on a faint scram on an Executioner. J5B is fine. You only get an extra 375 range on a feint versus the J5B anyway. It's just cheap, it's meta free, and it's nice. X5, same as the J5B, it's the meta free web. We don't want to spend 2 million ISK on a fleeting web, and we don't have the skills for Tech 2 nor the CPU, so meta free web and scram is fine. Damage control, I have a damage control 1 on my fit. You can go meta 1 or meta 2 if you want. There is a very small upgrade if you want to go with that. I believe the emergency damage control is probably around the same price as damage control 1. You might as well get that if you can. But I got the damage control 1 because it was what was in the market that I was at. And if you want to get the F85, which is the meta 2 damage control, it's about the same price as a Tech 2 damage control, but it will fit. We don't really need the extra CPU from the damage control. Maybe you want to go for a meta damage control though if you want to upgrade something else on the ship, like a better scram or a better web. But Tech 1 is fine. And I have a heatsink here, and I also have damage rigs. The reason for this is we want to break 100 DPS with a Scorch. We've got 90 here. When we're heating, it's over 100. Very important. Golden rule of thumb in nullsec I have is just we need to do 100 DPS at our optimal range, and having this Tech 2 heatsink and the energy weapon rigs helps to do that. We also have more DPS when we're close range, and DPS is important obviously because we need to be able to kill people before their friends arrive, which is a very typical thing that happens in nullsec. Then we've got a small Ancillary armor repairer. This is our tank. It's a very efficient module. If you get off all the charges, it's actually about the same as a 400mm plate. And since hopefully we're going to be in Scorch range, where we're going to be taking less damage in general, and we also are in an Executioner, which has very good base capacitor, as I mentioned, why I chose the ship, we should be able to get off all those charges, and that way we're going to have a lot of armor hit points on this ship. So that's the Executioner. I do carry the crystals. I carry 3 Conflagration S, 3 Imperial Navy Frequency S, and then 3 Scorch S. Conflagration and Imperial Navy Frequency are the close range crystals. Use Conflagration against stuff that is you're going to be able to track. Imperial Navy Frequency I'd use against most frigates, unless it's like a big shield frigate or something like that, like a Kestrel that I know I'm going to be able to track with Conflagration. The most expensive thing here is the Nanite Repair Paste. I've actually got 2.6 million worth of it. I fit 150 in the ship, but that's mostly because I was roaming deeply. You can go with less Nanite Repair Paste if you want, if you plan on repairing in stations, if you're PvPing in nullsec. I don't have any of the Nanite Repair Paste skills trained on this character, so that's why I've got quite a bit of Nanite Repair Paste. But if you want to save ISK, 50 Nanite Repair Paste is fine. You just have to be a bit less liberal with your heat, and you'll have to repair in stations a bit longer. Okay, so that's the Executioner. Alright, so let's get started with the first kill, my first blood. It's actually a Sino Ibis, which isn't very cool. I thought it was pretty funny though, because there was a raw call that came from the Sino, and it was on a POS that has no guns. So it's pretty funny, pretty interesting. That's our first blood. Killed a Sino Ibis. Killing Sinos isn't hard, but it does get the locals mad, and that's important. Okay, so this is a fight with a raptor. I knew there was an Arazu in the other system chasing me, but he was quite far away. It was quite a long warp, about 50 AU, so I was pretty confident. I was expecting the raptor to kind of brawl me down and chase me, so I burnt it off, thinking that he would be chasing me and I can try and kite him with Scorch. But he had a long point, so I decided to go in. I thought he was... Maybe I kept at range 5,000 just in case he was some weird blaster fit, but had a long point for some reason. I don't know why. But it turns out he doesn't do any damage to me, and I'm able to just apply my DPS to him. He was dual prop, but he didn't try to orbit me at all. He tried to just kite at range, and my Scorch was perfectly fine. I was still hitting Scorch. That's why I didn't swap to Multifrequency or Conflag. I was just kiting at range. And he was pulling away from me, kind of, but my Conflagration, my Scorch was hitting him perfectly. So I killed the raptor, If he did have guns, I would have kited out his blasters. Or if I saw he was doing damage to rails, I would have gone in close. You can see the Arazu comes in at this point, and he afterburns angrily towards me. But I'm able to warp off before he can lock me. And you'll see in local, there's a very appropriate character name, which made me laugh a bit when I saw it. So that's my second kill, the Raptor. Next, I'm able to tackle a Miasmos in a mining bell and just put DPS on him. Just want to show you this this clip because it just shows you directional scanner. So I'm shooting this Miasmos and he has so much HP. So I narrowed down the scanner so that only he's on there. I've got 360 degrees and it's on 1 AU, so I know if anything's coming in. I'm just sort of just shooting this Miasmos, hoping to kill it. But I see that there's a few Procurers and a few other things coming in, so I just shoot the enormous container because it dies in one shot, and then they all come in to save the Miasma, so I warp off. And it's very good to do that just because it makes people angry and they're more likely to form up for you. Right, so this is a fight against a Kestrel. Obviously, we just want to get in close. We want to use our high damage crystals. I have Multifrequency. I didn't actually have Conflagration in this executioner itself. We just want to get on top of it as soon as possible so we can apply our max DPS. We want multi-frequency crystals. We want to be able to drain capacitor from the NOS so we can run our tank for longer. This is actually a like kiting fit Kestrel. I jumped into him and he was on the gate at 0 and he just attacked me. So I got a pretty significant advantage in this fight. If it was a rocket Kestrel or more of a close range brawl Kestrel, it would have been a lot harder for me. And that's what you want to do against missile ships. Just approach and just get your full damage on them. I should have loaded Conflagration if I actually had it, but I didn't actually have it in this instance. I forgot to bring it with me. So I needed to repair and get some paste because I actually didn't have any, and that's going to come into play in a later fight. But a good thing about the execution, it's actually really fast. As you can see, there's big gate camp that's stopping me from getting to the Stain NPC system. I can actually make it back to the gate even though they have multiple fast locking ships. I'm also able to just warp off on this side even though there's quite a few things, although they weren't on the gate. Right, so remember when I said that the fact that I had no pace left was important? It's going to be really important in this fight and you're going to see it. So a Stiletto engages me on the gate and I try to burn him down, but he's actually burning away from me. And I can't get on top of him. I overheat my MWD. I should have tried to slingshot him. It was actually pretty stupid of me to just burn at him with overheated MWD. But you'll see now, my MWD is actually half damaged, and it was actually a bit damaged from before because I burned into that gate camp and I didn't have enough thing to repair. But you'll see now, my MWD actually burns out, and I think it was almost exactly on like half, which is really unfortunate. And now I can't get away from the Stiletto, and a Manticore comes into the fight. So there's nothing I can really do here. Not having paste as well means that I don't have any paste in my Ancillary Repairer. So my tank is a lot lower as well. So my only option here is really to hope that the Manticore is bad and approaches me. And he does kind of do that. But as soon as I lock him and start approaching him, he kind of realizes that he's getting too close and then he moves away. Which kind of sucks, but now there's a Purifier coming in, and now I'm probably going to just die here. But I see the Purifiers coming in on me, and I really wish I trained targeting level 1 on here, because you can see I can only lock 2 max targets, so I have to unlock the Stiletto, which I do. And fortunately the Purifier decides to come into scram range, so I load Imperial Navy Frequency. I don't actually have Conflag in this fight, as I mentioned before. In the first round I forgot to take Conflagration crystals, and I probably wouldn't be able to track the Purifier otherwise anyway. So I'm running my NOS, I'm running my tank. If I had Ancillary charges here, I would have a much better tank. But like I said, I ran out of paste on my roam, which is really bad. That's why I decided to take 150 paste. On this roam I actually only had 50 paste. But it's actually pretty close, but I'm able to bring down the Purifier just before I die. I actually had 14 structure hit points left as he popped. And I pop 5 seconds later from the Manticore. It was a good fight, I guess. If I didn't burn out my MWD, I could have easily killed both the Manticore and the Purifier. And probably gotten away from the Stiletto. So this one's just a quick one against a Skynet kind of camp. They have fighters assigned to the Oracle and to the Eris. But I noticed on the Crow, he only has augmented warriors. They're not actually the fighters. And the fighters are actually on the Ares and on the Arazu. I think the Oracle, I believe. The Crow does have warriors assigned to them, but I don't think the Arazu, I believe, that has the drones assigned to him, assisted to him, is outside control range, so the drones aren't actually going to do anything. So I'm able to get on top of this Crow, and I'm looking at the position of the ships. I know that the ship in the center of the gate, I believe it's the Arazu, cannot actually come in, and the Oracle's kind of on the bubble, and you know, even if the Oracle does come in, then it's going to take quite a long time to lock me, and the Crow just sort of just brawls into Scram and web range. You can see that the Ares is coming in, but I'm able to kill the Crow well before it's able to get into tackle range. I'm not quite sure what the Arazu and the Oracle were doing because they were at 0 MS. I mean, I could have potentially tried to fight the Ares, but he did have fighters around him earlier, so I was a bit worried that he might have fighters. But we'd take down a Crow. I want to show you this clip because it's kind of got some interesting splitting up mechanics, and there's a Malediction on the other side of this gate, and there's a Hawk, a Gnosis, and a Stiletto, and there's also potentially an Eagle coming in. So what I do is I decide to I know what they're trying to do is they're trying to just probably a big ship's going to tackle me, then they'll force me through to the Malediction, and they're just going to zerg me. But I decide to warp to a close by gate, and you can see Hawk, Gnosis, Stiletto, Eagle. What I'm trying to do is hoping that the Hawk and some other big ships might follow me, and then I can warp back to the gate, jump through, and the Malediction, which is still there, I can get a fight with. So I see that the Hawk is here, then I immediately warp back to the gate. What I'm hoping is happening, because these guys have been chasing me for a while, is that they're all going to warp to the gate. And you can see the Stiletto is now gone. The Stiletto actually warped to that gate, and the Gnosis is actually now off the gate because he's aligned to the gate where the other people are. He's actually 7 kilometers off the gate, so he can't come in and help immediately. So I come in here, the Malediction is here. Load my Imperial Navy frequency because he is a Malediction after all. He does have rockets, I want to get on top of him. And he just engages me, hoping that his gang is in position, but they're not, because I split them up by warping to the other gate. This Malediction's a bit weird. He has lasers for some reason. I don't really know why that is. He probably should have pulse lasers. I have my MWD on, which is maybe a bit of a mistake from me. I probably should have turned down the cycle before, so that I would save some cap for my rep, but it's not really a problem in this fight. I see that in front of me is an anomaly, which is probably going to be the best place for me to warp out. So I double click in space and try to warp to the anomaly, but the Hawk ends up tackling me. It's quite close, but fortunately for me, it's a long range Hawk. He got quite lucky with his decloak distance there, but I'm able to just burn away. And the Stiletto is there, and the Stiletto does get a disrupt on me, but then he turns it off for some reason. I don't know, maybe he had bad skills or something. But if the Stiletto still had a scram on me, I would have probably just still burned on grid and then turned back and tried to fight him if he got separated from the claw. But my cap was getting pretty low, and I only had 3 charges left, so I decided to warp out and go repair my ship before engaging. And then unfortunately they decided to leave, so I wasn't able to get the fight with the Stiletto. But that's I thought that was a good fight because it shows sort of splitting up. And so this is another interesting fight, which also happens to be against another Malediction that happens using some sort of split up tactics. So you see on this station we have a Dominic's, Malediction, Saber, and Ishtar. Now this is a very dangerous gang that's on the station, but I want to fight the Malediction. So I do link a pretty terrible executioner fit in hopes to bait them a bit. But what I decided to do is I add planets to my overview to try and find a planet that's pretty far away, that's not near a gate, so I don't think I go to the gate. And the Malediction is kind of burning for me, so he's sort of interested. So I warp to this planet, which is planet 9, which is, oh sorry, planet 11 it is actually. And it's pretty far away, so that way if the Ishtar, the Saber, and the Dominics come in, they will have a very long warp distance to come to try and help the Malediction. So I tried to see if he's finding it's actually already on scan, so this actually ends up being a warp speed rigged Malediction. I load Conflagration because I kind of expect him to brawl me, and I know he's probably going to come in at 0. So I just get on top of him as fast as I can. And to load Conflagration, I was kind of expecting the Saber to come in pretty quickly as well. You see, this is a fight against malediction. Obviously, you know, just want to be able to leverage our utility high advantage with the Nosferatu, and we want to be able close as possible to do max DPS. I shouldn't have my MWD on in this fight. It's a mistake for me. It's draining my capacitor, and it's also increasing my sig. I don't think I would have much damage mitigation against this malediction anyway, but he doesn't have a web. He does have a TP though, so which he only decided to turn on now for some reason. So maybe I was taking a bit more damage than I should in that engagement, but I'm able to kill the malediction. And I just decided to try and just get the loot, and you'll see the saber actually comes in. I should have been watching directional scanner, but I align to the asteroid belt. I make sure I lock the saber as well, so that I can apply my Scrambler web on him if he like counter webs me or something, or scrams me. I'll be able to try and pull myself out of range, and I'm able to get out. Again, that was a bit sloppy from me. I should have been watching directional scanner. And it's not a good idea just to hang around at 0, especially when you know that there is potentially other gangmates incoming. But I'm able to get out of that fight with my ship in 30% structure, which is pretty cool. Just want to show you a quick video that really highlights the strength of the malediction and why I prefer it over the tormentor. So I jump into this pretty horrendous camp that has a lot of bad stuff for me on the gate, as you can see. And these guys have been trolling me, and I've been trolling them quite a bit in local before. They had a Republic Fleet Firetail, as well as an Ares, a Tyrannus that wouldn't really fight me. They wouldn't split up. They were always with an Algus and some healer. And I went to leave the pocket because I was getting a bit bored of them. And they're camping me in with, 10 guys or so. So malediction. So the executioner, even with level 3 navigation skills, is able to make it back to the gate, even against a pretty horrendous camp like this. I'm just able to warp out very quickly with my decent agility, and that will tie into a new fight which is coming up just in a minute. So tying into the next fight, I warped to another gate and I just chill out, and I repaired my stuff, and a Tyrannus lands on the gate, and I really want to fight the Tyrannus. It's a difficult fight, but as long as we kite it at range, we can kill it. And he actually jumps on the gate that I'm on, so I jump with him just to see what he does. Against the dual prop Tyrannus, it's an incredibly difficult fight, and I don't think you'd be able to win in a 20-day-old executioner. Fortunately, there's a lot of bad Tyrannuses around, and this Tyrannus decloaks. I tried to orbit him initially at 7 kilometers so I can get a good web on him. He's really slow to react, and he doesn't really do much. He just lets me sort of get my my optimal range sorted on him and get set up. He then engages me like after I've already got 6 or 7 volleys onto him, and he does have neutrons blasters, but he has a disruptor and a web for some reason, so he can't actually gain on me at all, because as soon as he gains on me I could just pulse my MWD and get away from him. So I don't know why he has the disruptor, which seems a bit weird. He does have an Ancillary Repair, but at range, and he does have 2 drones on me, and he does get the occasional hit off on me because he does have I presume he has null loaded. As you can see, he's getting a few grazing hits on me, but the Ancillary charge is more than enough to keep me up against that. I'm able to kill the Tyrannus in my executioner. Okay, so this is a rematch with the exact same Tyrannus, except he's now fit a Scram instead, so his fit is a bit better, and he actually gets, because he landed close to me, he actually starts the fight pretty close to me. But this is why I believe the dual prop Tyrannus is better, because it would be able to gain on me faster, but that's not here. I do start my Repair a bit late. I should have maybe used it preemptively to get some more Repairer on before. But I'll get my NOS on as well once he's in NOS range. I'm kind of able to do some damage to him. Unfortunately, his friend comes in now, and then I just get one-shot by the Republic Fleet Firetail. But maybe that's a fight I could have won with better skills. But or if the fight was started in a bit better circumstances, I think if he had a Scram in the previous fight, I still would have been able to beat him quite easily, even if he started shooting me earlier. And those were the most interesting fights that I had. There were a few Condor and Crow kills that I had that weren't so interesting, that I left out. But thanks for watching. I hope that this proves to you that you can have decent fights and soloing is possible in nullsec even with a 20-day-old character, and there's no excuse. Skill points aren't really that important. So I'll probably do a more in-depth executioner guide soon, and I'll probably make another few videos that I've got the footage for. I just need to commentate them and upload them. I know there hasn't been a lot of videos uploaded in the past few months, generally just one video a month, but there should be a lot more soon. Thanks for watching. See you soon.